Hi everyone, it's Don and I hope you're having a fantastic day. Well, in the news today, we have another sprinkler malfunction on Royal Caribbean, soaking guests and furniture and everything in the Promenade. That's two in a couple weeks. We also have another outbreak on a Princess cruise ship. I'll tell you about that. If you are a dog lover and are very upset when you have to go on a cruise and leave the puppy behind, well, we might have a cruise lined up for you where you can actually bring your dog on the cruise with you. And finally, we have the story about passports. Your passport, not all passports are created equal, because there's the passport card and then there's the passport book. And we're going to tell you which one you actually need to cruise. So first off, we have the Harmony of the Seas. Apparently the sprinklers went on the last night of the cruise in the Promenade, sending guests scrambling into the restaurants and bars along the side and the shops to get out of the torrential downpour that happened on the ship, just soaking everything there from furniture and equipment to the floors. Apparently inches of water accumulated on the floor before they were actually able to shut off the sprinkler system. During this time though, it did interrupt some service. They had to shut down all the food as well as even room service because it was all hands on deck, sort of, because they were all out there getting this mess cleaned up and repaired. And most people took it pretty lightheartedly. I don't think there was any severe damage to anybody's personal belongings or anything like that. You know, any really bad things that happened from it. But some people were even commenting saying how great it is to see that these sprinklers work. And that if there ever is a case where there's an actual fire in the Promenade, how much water actually came down and how fast it came down, and hopefully would put out and extinguish any real fires that are going on. So that was good. Next, something that's not so good, on a 31-day Trans-Pacific crossing for the Coral Princess, well, she's reported over 3% of the passengers and crew came down with Norovirus. It has been confirmed it's been Norovirus because tests were done on the ship. 55 passengers reported feeling the symptoms, as well as 15 crew members. So yeah, 70 people on board that smaller ship. It's the third Princess ship I've reported in the last little while that had norovirus outbreaks on it. This is a much smaller outbreak than some of the others that were reported. But just because it's 55 passengers and 15 crew, it's a 31-day cruise. And it wasn't all on 1 day or 2 days. It was reported over the course of the 31 days. And norovirus usually lasts between 1 to 4 days for most people, and they're back on their feet and enjoying the cruise. It's just an unfortunate thing that does happen every once in a while on a cruise. I've caught it, unfortunately, but only caught it once, so that's not a bad record so far. Next, are you a dog lover? Well, are you really kind of sad? You want to go on a cruise and you have to leave your puppy behind with friends, or worse, board them in a kennel if you want to go on a trip? Or do you just not cruise at all because you can't bring your dog with you? Well, we have Margaritaville at Sea will be setting up a dog-friendly cruise in 2025. And there will be up to 250 dogs allowed on this cruise. Now, they're going to be setting up designated areas for guests. Only certain cabins will be allowed to have dogs in them. They're going to have a relief area in the stateroom on the balconies. They are setting up relief areas in other places. The dogs will only be allowed to go in certain areas to maintain cleanliness and things like that. It's the first time this has really been tried on any kind of mass scale. You've seen a dog on for instance, the Icon of the Seas has a dog always on board. Captain Kate on the Beyond has her cat. People have sometimes emotional support animals with them, and they have to make all these arrangements ahead of time to do so. Well, if you're going to bring your dog on this cruise, you're going to need the same thing. You're going to have a lot of paperwork done. They're going to have to be up to date on their vaccinations. They're going to have to get approved before going, etc., etc. There will be quite a few hoops to jump through, and all the details really haven't come out yet, but you can, apply to Margaritaville at Sea and actually have, put on a waiting list for that cruise if this is something that you would like to do. I'm a dog lover. 250 dogs on a cruise, I would have a blast, but I don't know non-dog lovers if that's a thing. If they would like to be on this cruise with 250 dogs and the possible howling and barking in the evening. When you put 250 dogs in an apartment building on balconies. I don't know how it's going to go, but I wish them all the luck in the world. And then finally, we have Carnival Cruise Line clarifying some things about passports. A lot of people nowadays, you go and you're applying for a passport in the United States, and I think roughly you can get a passport card the size of a driver's license and credit card, easy to carry in your wallet, and you can get that for like 30 bucks, 40 bucks. However, if you want the full passport, you're talking $150 or so for 5 years. Well, people are opting for the cheaper passport card. The trouble is the passport card is not valid in a lot of destinations and a lot of things. It has a lot more restrictions on it. For instance, if you're taking a Panama Canal cruise and you're going to Colombia, they won't allow you. You're not allowed to take that cruise because you're not allowed to stop in Colombia, and the ship stops in Colombia and the passport's not valid. Also, passport cards are not valid for international flights. So you couldn't fly to Australia, Japan, Europe. You could not fly outside the United States. So they're only basically good as ID for local things in the United States or closed loop cruises that aren't going to Panama Canal. So keep that in mind. And remember, even if you're in the Caribbean and something happens, like you miss the cruise ship or you get injured and end up having to stay overnight in a foreign country, then your card is no longer valid to fly home, and you still have to go through the embassy, etc., to be able to fly home. Where if you had a passport, you're good. You can book your flights whenever you want and head home. Just something to keep in mind when you're deciding, do I want a passport card or do I want a full passport? At that point, I think, if you're going to travel any amount of time and you're hoping to travel around the world of any kind, like to Europe for a river cruise, or to Japan, or to Australia, to Singapore, anything like that, I recommend getting the full passport. It's not that expensive considering it lasts 5 to 10 years, depending on how long you take it, and it can save you so many headaches in the future. Well, I hope you appreciate this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Want to see more tips, more tricks, more travel vlogs from around the world? Hit that subscribe button. Till next time, have yourself a safe and a great vacation.